Hello all YouTubers, I am the Weather Dude. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for tuning back into this 20th hurricane season discussion for August 25th, 2020. Before we get on with today's video, however, it would be really awesome if you guys did hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much, by the way, for 900 subscribers. We're almost there. We're less than 100 away from the big ultimate goal of 1,000 subscribers. So please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, as well as ring the bell notification so you don't miss my next upload. Also, watching the whole video because getting to the goal of 1,000 subscribers in monetization, we're getting very close. And you guys watching the whole video will help the Weather Dude's channel out a lot. So please consider watching the whole video as well. Please do. And also like and share this video with your friends. Thank you. Now let's go on with today's video. So today we have our 20th Atlantic hurricane season discussion, and we have some pretty big updates from the 19th one that I did not too long ago, and we have to do some important updates that I want to share with you. Before I start, I just wanted to say that I did a Hurricane Laura coverage video. Consider watching that after this video, please, as that was my other upload for today. And without further ado, let's get started. So signs of a hyperactive 2020 Atlantic hurricane season. I think it's definitely starting to show. Especially with the storms that we've had so far already. Now, this screen might look new to you. I've been saying to you for a while that we had a La Nina watch, blah, 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 and now we have a La Nina alert. So we can put the watch behind us because we have moved to a La Nina alert. And what does this do? Well, instead of the La Nina chances being 50%, they're now 70% during the Southern Hemisphere spring, which is that's translated to Northern Hemisphere fall, right, through the summer. All right, so fall and winter is probably our best chance for La Nina. All right, but obviously we won't be talking about any of the winter months in this video because this is solely a hurricane season discussion. So the latest month we'll be going up to is November, all right, because that's when hurricane season ends. Now, this does increase normally the chances for La Nina, all right, normally around 25-ish%. All right, usually, actually, well, technically speaking, it's kind of like a third because you have 3 different categories you could possibly have, but actually, I think the chances for La Nina are 25%. All right, usually. Now they're 70%. All right. Because we moved to a La Nina alert, so next stage here. All right. Again, this doesn't guarantee La Nina. Okay. Now, if we move one more into a dark blue, that means we are now in a La Nina. That means it is here. It is already happening. But again, this doesn't guarantee a La Nina either, but it just really increased the threat for La Nina. And here's why. All right, here's some of the modeling here. You can see a lot of models here. The NASA, the NOAA, BO, the Bureau of Meteorology, and the CANSEPs, all in the La Nina here. Even the sum of all these models, the mean, is at a La Nina status, okay, for the month of September. And look at October, all right? They only go more towards the left. You go deeper into the blue coloring here. Bureau of Meteorology, CANSEPs, NASA, NOAA, UKMO, and the average of all these models here looks to be 1 degree Celsius below average, which is a weak to moderate La Nina. Now, here's November here. Again, same models, except now the JMA seems to go into a La Nina, all right? Euro and the Medio haven't quite gotten there. All right, they're getting pretty close, and the model average is 1.1 degrees Celsius, which is closing in on a moderate La Nina. Now, here's an updated map here. All right, before it used to look something like this, and then it briefly retreated back to more of a right on the borderline. Now, all of a sudden, it went back down. So now the spaghetti model's kind of shifted back down, and it looks like October and November and December looks like we'll be in a La Nina, at least according to the average of all these spaghetti bonds, which is indicated by the green line. And this is kind of like your month-to-date value for August. So you can see we're right in the neutral there, but we're on a downtrend, right, from the past analysis. All right, so we're going to go down and come back up. So does this mean an ENSO neutral for our winter time? All right, stay tuned because hopefully soon, in about a week, maybe a little bit more, around a week or so, hopefully my next winter forecast, my second winter forecast will be coming out. Because if we have an ENSO neutral winter, the East Coast is going to get very excited for some snowfall here. So hopefully that'll be the case. But for now, it looks like, late fall into the winter, or fall in the winter, we might have a La Nina. All right, here's some of the other, Nina 3-4 probabilities here. Again, October, our La Nina threat is higher than our ENSO neutral threat. Then once you have from October, the La Nina chances actually drop off. But again, look at this. No threat for El Nino. And that's why the hurricane season is so active here. All right, it's active right now. It's going to continue to be active. As you can see by the Sst Anomalies going to drop down to September by 0.8. That could be a very active month for hurricane season. Now, I used to have 3 maps on here, but it skips every 2 months. So September, November, and like I said, I can't go beyond November. So now I have 2 on here instead of 3 because the earliest month they provided was September. And let me change my colors so you guys can actually see it here. Let me change it. Hold on a sec. All right, there we go. So September, again, they're forecasting 0.8 degrees Celsius below average, and November we could be dropping to 1.1, which is a closing in on somewhat of a moderate La Nina here. All right, so from the Meteorology. Now, it's not just about the Nina 3-4 region, it's also about the St Anomalies. And if you watched my Hurricane Laura video, you might have saw something like this. All right, like I said, I'm trying to wean off of CDAS from Tropical Tidbits. I mean, I'm still going to use it and some other maps as well. But here we go. Sea surface temperature anomalies. Obviously, where Marco recently moved through. We got a little bit of cooler waters. All right. And here's where Laura moved through earlier. So got some cooler waters here as well. All right. But still, warm waters in Laura's path. We got warmer than average waters for the Caribbean. And even by Bermuda and northwestern Atlantic, very warm waters as well. Those ocean water temperatures as much as 31 degrees in the Gulf of Mexico and south of Cuba. Even in the northern Atlantic, though, we still got 30 degrees Celsius water temperatures. Even 29 to 30 for much of the Caribbean. How about the tropical Atlantic? Okay, we've been going back and forth, but now it looks like we're starting to see some warmer than average water temperatures build up in the MDR region, which is where we're starting to see a lot of hurricanes and tropical waves develop, such as Marco and Laura, and another tropical disturbance that we briefly had and ended up dying out. They all formed in this MDR region, which actually, if you want, I can draw up the full thing, which is just about in this region. Okay, I'm kind of free drawing by hand here, so forgive me for that, but you get the gist, okay? It's in this general region where the warmer water is right now. But look at the subtropics and up in the northern Atlantic. We got some really warm water up there as well, or at least warmer than average. Now, looking at the actual ocean temperatures, like I said, we've been watching this yellow line, which is the 80-degree water line, rise to the north and to the east. And eventually, this will probably take over all the Atlantic Ocean, eventually, hopefully. And because right now, the Jersey and the Delaware Shore and the Delmarva is still looking like below 80. But the MDR region, wow, into the 80s, okay? From Cabo Verde Islands point south, your water temperatures are 80 to 82, which is plenty for development. But look at this. By the time these storms would track into the tropical Atlantic, we got 30 degrees Celsius by Bermuda, 29 for the Caribbean. So it's saying, bring it on, tropical activity. It's welcoming them a little bit, right? So here's what I used in my Laura video right here. And you can just see, look at the La Nina. This is definitely looking like a developing La Nina in this region here. All right, and in turn, look at this. We got some really warmer than average water temperatures, moderately above average, actually, anywhere from 1 to 2.5. Southwestern Gulf of Mexico through the Western Caribbean, as well as in the tropical Atlantic. We have some darker oranges, as well as some darker orange colors, and even some red colors from the subtropics up through the northern New England. All right, anywhere as much as maybe 3 or 4 degrees Celsius above average water temperatures. And the actual water temperatures, again, in that darker orange color, maybe, above 30 Celsius, maybe around 28 or so, elsewhere closer to 29, which is still very warm. All right, now through the next month is when we're going to start to see the warmest water temperatures. But look at this. Where La Nina is starting to develop, right? Here's where you have your cooler waters, not even 80 degrees, okay? In some parts of the equator region, which is really unusual considering that area is usually pretty warm, except in the La Nina. Now, looking at our Caribbean St Anomalies, we got 0.6 degrees above average for you. As a whole, averaging out the whole Caribbean, the whole thing is 0.6 above average. How about the MDR region I showed you earlier? A half a degree above average, which is still very significant. All right, we got the North Atlantic, which includes the subtropics and northern parts like Greenland, like I told you. Still, even with the Arctic or parts of the Arctic included, still 0.4 degrees above average. All right, which really says something. And the East Tropical Atlantic goes up and down, right? Still a third of a degree above average, which is still significant. And finally, look at this. Nina 3-4 region, pretty much closing in on La Nina. This is the lowest we've ever been so far, right? We had a drop back in May here, as you can see, getting down to almost 0.6. We have now passed 0.6 below average, so we're starting to head almost into La Nina territory. We're almost there. We're getting there. We're pretty much there. Now, here is the kind of like the atmosphere stability, right? Or the convection, I should say. I showed you this for a couple videos ago till now. I've still been showing you guys this map, and hopefully will be continuing to. So in this green color, we have more convection, more thunderstorm activity, more unstable atmosphere, which supports thunderstorm activity. Meanwhile, in the orange and red shading, we have a more stable atmosphere, less thunderstorm activity, less convection, which obviously does not support tropical development. Well, take a look at this. Central Africa, all right, so go to the left and then over here to the right now. which this is Africa over here as well, Africa is shaded in green, meaning a lot of storms are going to continue to build over Africa from the 25th of August, which is now through September 1st. All right, notice how this also includes the East Pac. This includes the Gulf of Mexico, the Caribbean, even the North Atlantic as well. So more thunderstorm activity anywhere shaded in green. Meanwhile, the Central Atlantic and the, we don't call that West Pacific, or Central Pacific and West Pacific, I should say, in a more, stable atmosphere. Now, notice how this kind of starts to shift a little bit. Africa, we still have a lot of thunderstorm activity from the 1st of September to the 8th. Same thing with the East Tropical Atlantic, but now the Gulf and the Caribbean and the East Coast kind of seeing some average. Now, you can't go wrong with average, right? Especially since we've had a active season already. When you look at let's take a look at the Tropical Storm Intensity Index now. This kind of helps tell us, are conditions favorable for a tropical system? Well, where Laura is, there's deep reds, highly favorable conditions. So, yes. Eastern Caribbean, check. All right. Northern Caribbean, nah, not so much. It's not highly unfavorable conditions, but it's unfavorable, slightly unfavorable in that yellow shade for the Northern Caribbean. And it's because wind shear starting to build up a little bit behind Laura. The ocean cools down a little bit behind a tropical system, so that's probably going to happen. All right, but still, south of Bermuda, parts of the tropical Atlantic and the Caribbean, outside the Caribbean, highly favorable conditions for development. One thing I've also noticed on the 26.5-degree isotherm is that a lot of deeper reds are starting to build in here, meaning we can go even farther underwater and still find 80-degree water. So even more cyclonic energy is already starting to build in, in the northern part of the Caribbean. This area always has a lot of tropical cyclonic heat, but it's about to shear in the dry air as well. And here's a look at the tropical cyclonic heat potential. As you can see, this is not a problem at all. Where we have the white, that is like the most you could pretty much have on this map, all right? The most tropical cyclonic heat you could possibly have. And notice, because of the currents that we have that flow into the Gulf of Mexico, that heat is starting to get transferred into the Gulf as well. I'll be showing you that right now, actually. So, but first off, here's the same map I showed you the first time, but except in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, you might notice there's one blue spot here, and yes, all right, that's always been like that. Then there's also this one yellow spot over here that's more favorable, all right? Meaning that the 80-degree water is kind of shallow. It doesn't go that deep. You don't see too many 80-degree water temperatures underwater when you look at the blue coloring. Also, that's why I think Laura is kind of a little still right now, because it's moving through an area of not too much tropical cyclonic heat. Although, right after it left Cuba, a lot of tropical cyclonic heat it went through, and it's going to continue to rapidly strengthen, hopefully, the storm hopes, Laura hopes that it's going to strengthen, but obviously we don't. All right, but just could strengthen into a Cat 2, Cat 3 hurricane again as it moves through those very favorable waters. There's Laura on satellite again. But again, Gulf of Mexico, Caribbean, East Coast, really no dry air to be found. The only dry air that we have is still lingering off the African coastline. But the tropical systems have seen the weave somehow, find like a loophole, find a way around the dry air. Or they just said, you know what, forget this, I'm just going to go straight through it. And some of them did, and they still got through it, despite a little bit of dry air. All right, so looking at the wind shear, again, where Laura is, the wind shear has been dropping over the past 24 hours, and there's really no shear to be found there. Also, again, Northern Caribbean, Bahamas, we still have some shear, which is why conditions aren't so good right now. But again, island parts of the tropical Atlantic by the Cape Verde Islands, not much shear. If there is, there's a little bit, but it's not much. And here's another TCHP map, tropical cyclone heat potential. And again, there it is, Northern Caribbean, right there. You can see that's where we have the most tropical cyclonic heat. Now, in the Caribbean, all right, wind shear has been remaining just about average. All right, we've been going up and down a little bit. Same thing with the tropical Atlantic. As of right now, they're actually a little bit above average with the shear. All right, but again, it's been up and down. It's mainly been hovering around. It's not like back here and during the winter time we have excess amounts of shear. It's kind of, more up and down, meandering around the average line, which, again, you can't go wrong with average. Now, looking from the 25th to the 30th, our wind shear anomalies. For some parts of the Atlantic, it's a little bit below average shear, which is good for tropical development. Other parts, not so much. This is the next 5 days. So basically, Laura is gone by this point. So if you see above average shear in the Gulf of Mexico, don't get excited and think that Laura is going to weaken, because it's not, because it has low wind shear right now. But behind it, we could see some wind shear develop and take over. Tropical Atlantic, we got a little bit above average shear, but like I said, just because it's above average shear doesn't mean a tropical system can't form. It's just going to give it a hard time. Now, looking from the 27th of August to the 1st of September, again, we're starting to see that blue area expand off the coast of Africa. Some more maybe below average shear. Look at these blue spots that start to take over. And now the Caribbean is just back to average shear by the 30th of August to the 4th of September. And finally, let's jump ahead from the 5th of September to the 10th of September. Look at this. Even across the mainland United States, some below average shear, as well as the northern Gulf, as well as parts of the tropical Atlantic as well. So these tropical systems are going to have pockets where they can try and develop. In my latest remainder of hurricane season forecast, I've updated this because we've had a lot of tropical systems lately. And so I've had to reduce the numbers because we're talking about how many additional named storms will we have. I think it could be on the lower end of these numbers, but 8 to 12. Like I said, the numbers are where they are because even though I think it'll be on the lower end of each of these numbers, like 8, 4, and 2 as opposed to 12, 7, and 4, this season is very active, so a lot can happen in a short amount of time. But predicting 8 to 12 additional named storms, 4 to 7 hurricanes, 2 to 4 major hurricanes, and seasonally, in a whole entire season, we usually see 12 named storms, 6 hurricanes, and 3 majors. All right? So again, keep in mind the steering patterns that we're having in place. All right, it's kind of what's kind of steering Laura. The first one I showed you is kind of steering Laura. I think the high is actually kind of down here, all right, as opposed to up here. But I'm just giving you that as a general description of what we're seeing this season. But the high itself is kind of down here and bending it Laura this way. All right, but this is kind of the steering we've been seeing this hurricane season. All right, so keep that in mind. All right, so thank you guys for watching today's video. I am the Weather Dude. Signing off till next time. Don't forget, every single one of you that are not subscribed, please subscribe. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. And I will catch you guys in the next video.